You know, it was the 1st of February and I was asked to go do a television show, and every lake that I could think of had 39, 40, 41 degree water other than this lake right here. This is a power plant lake, never been here before, but the water temperature here is between 60 and 70 degrees, so I had an opportunity to catch some fish. I came over here, did not know what to expect, but I got something going on a Carolina rig. I'm looking for some fish, you know. We got a channel swing that swings up next to this big flat, and I'm just trying to see if I can find a key area right here where this would happen. The Carolina rig is a great search bait. Not only does it catch fish, but it also tells you what the bottom is made of, if it's hard, sandy, muddy. I use a Carolina rig anytime from pre-spawn all the way through summer, fall, even in the wintertime sometimes. But it's a great deep water search bait, but it also can be used during the spawn, casting over 4 to 8 foot spawning flat in muddier water situations. It's just a very versatile bait, and I have one tied on all the time in my boat. There we go. Hold still, buddy. You know, the heart of a Carolina rig is the weight. Let me let this one go and I want to talk to you about something. This right here is the heart of what I would consider the Carolina rig. And I'm using a tungsten weight, a Bass Pro Shops tungsten weight. And why it's better over lead or any of the other weights is that it's so hard, it transmits the bottom. And by it being harder, I can feel every bump, nook, and cranny when I get a bite, when I don't get a bite. Very, very important part of my Carolina rig is having that tungsten weight. You know, a mistake I see a lot of people making is that they'll use too small of a weight. You know, the weight, like I've said, is the heart of the Carolina rig. So go ahead and use a heavy weight. The heavy weight allows you to make longer casts. It keeps you in better contact with the bottom. You can feel more what's going on down there with a bigger weight. You know, sometimes, yes, you do have to go with a lighter weight if you can't get bites, but I'm always going to start out with an ounce or an ounce and a quarter weight. If I can get away with it, that's the weight I want to use. I can work my bait much faster, better contact, longer cast, numerous reasons why I want to use a heavier weight. You know, one of the great things about a Carolina rig is that I can stay in contact with the bottom, still able to feel my bait with this 15 to 25 mile an hour winds that we've got. You know, there's not a lot of things that I could be fishing today offshore like this and still have the control and the feel that I have like with this Carolina rig. You know, I'm using an ounce weight and I'm still able to do the things I need to do to catch fish. And that's a great advantage of a Carolina rig on these really windy days like this. You know, a mistake a person could make Carolina rigging is to try to move your bait with your reel. You don't have the sensitivity or the feel when you're moving your bait with your reel. It's very important to move your bait with your rod. That way you feel everything that's taking place. Oh, like right there. You can feel everything that's taking place down there when you're moving the bait with your rod. You know, if you're trying to reel that bait, that Carolina rig with your reel, you don't get the feel while you're reeling the bait like you do as if you're dragging it with your rod. All the feel is transmitted through your rod, not the reel. So it's very important to move that bait or your Carolina rig with the rod, not the reel. Almost as important as dragging your bait sideways, you must set the hook sideways when you get a bite. By setting the hook sideways, you get a direct pull. If I set the hook up like I'm worm fishing or something like that, all I'm doing is lifting that weight up off the bottom. It puts a lot of extra slack in your line. You're not going to get as good a hook set. You must set the hook sideways. That's going to ensure the best hook set possible. Very important to use a 7.5 foot rod. The reason why, you can move more line on your hook set. That's very, very important. You're making long casts with the Carolina rig. You need to move lots of line on your hook set. So you need the extra length in your rod. I like a medium heavy action rod. I want a pretty stiff rod. I've got to move a lot of line and try to set that hook a long distance from the boat a lot of times. You know, it's very, very important Carolina rigging that you stay in contact with the bottom. When you're working your Carolina rig, you always want to drag your rod sideways. You don't ever want to bring your rod up, because what that does is it brings the weight off the bottom. I want to stay in contact with the bottom, so I'm always going to drag my rod sideways. And the reason for doing that is it keeps your Carolina weight on the bottom. By dragging it sideways, my weight's stirring up mud and making noises, and you're feeling everything down there. I can tell you right now that that's rock. That's pea gravel rock. I can feel each and every rock, and it's just a very natural presentation by dragging it sideways. Very important.